Hey, what's up everyone, Evera94 back again with another action figure review. Hey, what's up guys, Evera94 back with another action figure review. Hey, what's up guys, Evera94 back again with another action figure review. Hey, what's up guys, Evera94 back with another action figure review. Today we're looking at the Mezco 112 Collective Freddy Krueger figure, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Today we are looking at the Mezco 112 Collective Aquaman. This, on the other hand, looks to be the definitive version, if you don't count the Hot Toys one. We did actually get Jango Fett before Boba Fett, which is kind of crazy. That's just how I am. It's almost like two totally different figures for me, and it's two totally different appearances for me. Enough for me to buy two of the figure. Enough salivating over the figure. Let's take a look at his articulation here. Double jointed knees. You have a nice hidden shin swivel here. And then we have an ankle hinge with the ankle pivot. The arms are going to go forward and back, in and out here just fine. We do get to see a return of these effect pieces. So love it or hate it, they are back. And I discovered that she is indeed wearing panties. They're really pumping out these 90s X-Men figures with no stop. But look how much stuff comes packed in here. It's pretty impressive that they're able to fit all this. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Leave a like if you did, leave a comment, subscribe if you have not done so already, and as always, have a great day. Bye. I know, I'm like the last person to upload their top 10 video, but here it is, nonetheless, better late than never. This is Evera94 with his top 10 action figures of 2019. So before I get started here, I just want to mention that this list was very difficult for me to make. I feel like it gets harder every year to create a top 10 list because there were so many great action figures last year, and every year there's just more added. Like it feels like every year there's just more great figures, and it just gets harder for me to make and condense it to just 10. Pick 10 out of the entire year. Very difficult this year, a lot harder than the past couple years, that's for sure, and I know it was difficult before too. So if I could, I would have made this a top 20, but I had to keep it at top 10, so that's where we're at right now. So my honorable mention list is huge compared to my actual top 10. There's more figures on my honorable mentions than there are on my top 10, obviously, because there's so many more figures in general. But anyways, alright, so honorable mentions, I'm just going to go through pictures on the screen, check it out, and I'm not going to go through them each one by one, but I'll list a couple with, 80th anniversary Captain America. Marvel Legends really killed it this year with their 80th anniversary figures, and 80th anniversary Captain America and the Hulk were just masterpieces in my opinion. I think that was and is most people's definitive Hulk right now, definitive Captain America right now, Iron Man and Thor, and a lot others that they made as well. Super nice box art for those mint on card collectors, and it had everything. It gave us a much better version of those characters that we know and love already, that we've gotten so many times before already, but it just wasn't that classic look like these are giving off. And then Mafex Wolverine is one of those figures that literally I got on the last day of 2019, but it did release in 2019 in Japan, so I'm going to count it for 2019. I know most people aren't getting it till 2020, but it's just one of those weird releases that came at the very end of the year. I ended up uploading that review on the 31st on New Year's Eve, so that was my very last review of the year, and it didn't make my top 10 because of that, maybe. I don't know. I love the figure. It's such a phenomenal Wolverine figure, but it did have the issues of the quality control issues, and for me personally, it's not a figure that I am drooling over compared to the other figures that are actually on my top 10. So for me personally, it didn't make it because of that. If I was a Wolverine fanatic, then yeah, definitely it would have made it on that top 10. So it always depends on the person. Everyone is different. Everyone likes certain things more than other things. compared to other people. So people gotta keep that in mind when they comment, because a lot of people want me to have the same top 10 list as them. They want us to all think the same, and no, we all think differently. We all like different things, and that is the great thing about all of these top 10 videos, is watching everyone else's list and how different it is compared to yours. What did this person think of 2019? What were their top 10? You know, that's the main idea of all these top 10 lists. Because what would be the point of everyone posting it if they were all the same? That's my little disclaimer there. It's if you don't agree with my list, I'm sorry, but it is my list. It's my opinion. Just gonna run through some more honorable mentions. We have the Marvel Legends Professor X on the hover chair, one of the best Rider series releases so far. Then we got the Mezco Popeye, the Sailor Man. That is the exclusive in the sailor suit. The regular Popeye came out in 2018, but the Popeye in the sailor suit did come out in 2019, so that counts as a release in 2019. It didn't make my top 10 because I already included the regular release in my top 10 of 2018. I felt like the figure is the same, it's just different clothing on the figure, so it's still mentioned in my honorable mentions because it's still deserving of that. It's still an amazing Popeye figure. And like I've said before, if this was a top 30 or top 20, all these honorable mentions would be on the list. So these are just as good as the ones that are on my official list. Next, we have Hercule, or Mr. Satan, from Dragon Ball Z. As you guys probably know, Dragon Ball Z SH Figures is my line. That is my favorite toy line of all time. My favorite toy line right now. That is my thing. Everyone has their thing. You know, Book Nights 10 is Marvel Legends. I am Dragon Ball Z SH Figures all day and night. And I try to refrain putting so many Dragon Ball Z figures on the list, because I might end up putting 8 on my top 10 list, and it's just like, okay, I gotta leave room for some of the other figures. I try to control myself on that part. But I still have quite a bit on the list, but can you blame me? It is my favorite. It is me. I mean, I truly love the figures, so having Hercule not on the list was a little difficult because that figure is so good, man. They did such a great job. I mean, Bandai Tamashii just needs the praise because they are killing the Dragon Ball Z line. You are a liar if you say they aren't. Carrying on here, we have the Bandai Tamashii Nations SH Figures Falcon is another honorable mention. A phenomenal looking Falcon, the best one we got in 6-inch scale so far. The Figures Infinity War Thor is also another one with the cloth cape. The best Thor from Infinity War, hands down. We have Super Boo from Dragon Ball Z. Again, phenomenal. What more can you ask for? We have all the different facial expressions, the height, the scale is done perfectly. Thank you, Bandai Tamashii. He is perfect for me. I would also like to mention Mezco One Toy Collective Blade. To me, this Blade figure is just as good as the Punisher figure. You know, everyone knows how popular the Punisher Mezco is. This Blade is right there next to it, in my opinion. Hasbro's Black Series General Grievous is a phenomenal looking figure. It's the only General Grievous, or General Grievous, however you want to pronounce his name, the only 6-inch scale Grievous that we have so far. It's such a difficult figure to sculpt and articulate and get it to look good, and they did it all, and they even added a cloth cape with it too. So definitely a great release. Continue on with Hasbro. Beast also makes my honorable mention list. The long-awaited Jim Lee 90s X-Men Beast. Everyone was waiting for this figure, and the only reason why it didn't make my top 10 was because of the fact that it didn't come with a closed mouth face or an alternate head in general. I just felt like it needed that, you know, but aside from that, it is a great figure and I love it, and everyone else loves it too. So now yet another Dragon Ball Z. Of course, I gotta mention our Goku, Super Saiyan God Goku, and our Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegeta from the Broly movie. Both phenomenal figures. Didn't make my top 10 because I liked other Dragon Ball figures more than these two, so I decided to keep these away because I like the other ones more, which you'll find out soon enough when you go through my list. The honorable mention list is long. If you don't want to hear this, maybe skip ahead a little bit until the official top 10 starts. I'll probably leave a little caption that says what time the actual top 10 starts, in case most people probably don't want to hear this part. Carrying on here, the Mezco Logan figure, Wolverine Logan, the young age, or the younger age, because Old Man Logan came out the year prior, or a couple years prior, I don't know how long ago, I think it was 2018, but in 2019 we got the younger Logan, and he is just as great as that Old Man Logan. If not, maybe even better. Bandai Tamashii Nations came out with a Thanos figure for the Avengers Endgame, and this was the Armored Thanos. It served as our definitive version of Armored Thanos on top of the Hasbro one. Obviously, it did beat out that Hasbro Build-A-Figure by a long shot, and it just made for great displays, and I love that you could remove the helmet as well and put on an alternate head from the Infinity War Thanos. If you had that hanging around, you could take that out and put his head on, or the bald head onto that body, and have him hold his own helmet. The Mezco 112 Collective Hela deserves some recognition. Very nice, underrated figure. I don't see a lot of love for this, but the likeness is top notch. It's like a mini Hot Toys in my opinion. The face is captured perfectly. I love the tailoring and the cloth. It just looks great, and it makes the Marvel Legend one look like a Happy Meal toy. This is how nice this one looks next to it. The SH Figuarts base form Broly, or you can't really say base form because this thing came packed with 3 different heads, 3 different forms. This figure almost made my top 10 list, but I did not want to have too many Dragon Ball Z figures, so this is like a runner-up. I mean, this figure deserves to be in your collection if you are a Broly fan, a Dragon Ball Super fan, Dragon Ball Z fan, anything. If you enjoyed that movie for a second, this figure is for you. PlayStation 4 Spider-Man release. Super great game. If you haven't played that game, you are doing yourself a disservice, especially if you're a Marvel fan and a gamer yourself. Story wise and gameplay wise, it was an awesome game, and we needed a great figure. Marvel Legends made one, or Hasbro made one for Marvel Legends, and it just wasn't that good to me, but it was the only thing we had, so I did pick it up. But once this thing dropped and I put it side by side to that Marvel Legends one, again, it destroyed it completely, and Figuarts really did it justice with this release. 2 more Dragon Ball Figuarts figures on my honorable mentions. We have Bulma and King Piccolo. I don't know, I probably put every single release of DBZ on this honorable mention list. I'm sorry if I did, but again, it's my favorite line, and I'm so proud of Bandai Tamashii. They're making me a proud fan and a happy fan. King Piccolo and Bulma, both phenomenal figures. Love that we get Bulma again in her more classic outfit. That's all I'm going to say. 2 awesome figures. Let's keep going here. The Pink Skull Chaos Club 3-pack Mezco 112 Collective exclusive. This was a great 3-pack. I was honored and privileged to be able to work on this review before anyone knew about it, before it went up to pre-order, before anyone even knew it was gonna happen. You know, it was a cool thing that Mezco reached out to me and asked me to review it for them. Definitely deserves recognition, not just because of that, but because the figures are awesome in themselves. Super awesome idea and story behind it, to give a story to Gomez and make a universe out of it. Very interested to see where they go further with that storyline. And then last but not least, I'm gonna mention, this is going to be a crazy surprise, but Dragon Stars, Bandai of America. A Dragon Stars figure is making my honorable mentions list, but it's deserving of it. The only good figure they've made, the best one they've made so far, it is the First Form Frieza Dragon Stars figure. Phenomenal figure. I don't know where this came from, but whoever sculpted it and released it, they should be working on all the other figures. And if they are, then I don't know what they're doing with their Gokus and Vegetas, but they're just not as good as this Frieza figure. And that's it for my honorable mentions list. I'm sorry I took so long on it. Maybe I'll cut it out the video, maybe I won't. Let's get to the top 10. My number 10, of course, we're gonna descend down to number 1, being my number 1 figure of 2019. Let's get to it with the Hasbro Marvel Legends 80th anniversary Thor figure. This is the Thor we've been wanting, the Thor we've been craving for years. Classic Thor. It has been requested for the longest time. We haven't gotten it since Toy Biz, I want to say. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not think that Hasbro's made a classic Thor like this ever. So long overdue, and it has paid off because this figure is beautiful, done very nice, and you can tell that they listened to us and took their time with it, because everything about the figure looks good, it feels great. It isn't 100% perfect, but nothing really is at the end of the day. So I can sacrifice a little bit of articulation because it does get hindered a little bit at the head. For what we're getting, a classic Thor, I'm happy with this release, and that's all I need. Number 9 is a little tough one for me because it is the NECA Kratos and Atreus 2-pack. The original Kratos came out in 2018. Now this came out in 2019, early 2019, January 2019. So it still counts. It is a re-release slash repaint, but it counts as a new release because it's a 2-pack. They completely changed the paint job on the figure, and they gave it a separate head. We got the accessory piece of Mimir on his waist because the game had released by this time, and when they released the first figure in 2018, it was before the game came out, so they couldn't spoil that. So to me, it's a different figure and it feels different. It's way better than the original release, even though that one was just as good too. Any God of War fan of the game, of this franchise, needs this figure in their collection. Even if you don't collect toys, you gotta have this Kratos figure. It is phenomenal. NECA knocked it out of the ballpark with this articulation, accessories, and everything. It's just a gorgeous figure. It photographs so well and so nice. It's literally a work of art. I mean, they did a great job, and for the price, come on, you cannot complain. I mean, this thing was, I think it was 40 or 50 bucks for the 2-pack, and that is your price for a Marvel Legend 2-pack, you know, and you get a lot less paint job and detail in those figures. So I think it's well worth the price. It's definitely priced perfectly. So let's keep moving on to my number 8 spot, going to, here comes our first Dragon Ball Z figure so far, but we have the Dragon Ball Z SH Figuarts Zamasu figure, and this figure wouldn't have made it if it didn't come with a split face alternative. You get the split arm when he gets the corrupted fusion. When that happens on the show, you get to have both. You get the regular Zamasu and you get to swap it out. You swap the arm out, you swap the neck out and the face out. This is beautiful. I never expected this because this is the type of stuff toy companies do to us. You know, they purposely don't give it to us so they can re-release the figure with that form later on as a separate release. But no, they gave it to us in the same package, and it looks great. I cannot complain. As a Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball fan in general, this is everything you want in a Zamasu action figure, and what more can I ask for? So going on to number 7, we're keeping it in Dragon Ball Z Figuarts with the Great Saiyaman. And once again, this goes the same thing with Zamasu, having the opportunity for them to not release all these forms, but they did. You get 4 different forms of the Great Saiyaman in one. What a phenomenal value. Like, just that alone is beautiful, and then the figure itself is great. They just did such an amazing job with this. So you get the helmeted Great Saiyaman version, you get the one with the bandana and the glasses, you also get the Super Saiyan version and the regular non-Super Saiyan powered down version. You get 4 Gohans in one. I mean, this is a Dragon Ball nerd dream come true, you know. So you can only imagine how I am and why it's on my list. In number 6, we have the Marvel Legends 80th anniversary Iron Man. So far, every single 80th anniversary has made it to this list somehow, either the top 10 or the honorable mention. Well, not every single one, but I got the main ones. We got the Hulk on the honorable mentions along with Captain America. Then we got Thor in number 10 spot, and then in number 6 spot we have the Iron Man. And this guy would be lower in the list, closer to number 1, if it wasn't for these other great figures that are in those spots right now. But this Iron Man, I ended up reviewing this Iron Man super late. I had him the entire time. I never got around to opening him until I reviewed him. And I don't know what I was doing, but that figure is one of the best. Iron Man figures so far, and we've gotten so many Iron Man figures, and I know a lot of people are tired of Iron Man figures releasing, but you got to get over it. He's one of the main characters, or one of the more popular characters of Marvel, just like Captain America and Spider-Man. We're always gonna get tons of those figures. It's just gonna happen. When a company is making Walking Dead figures, you're gonna get a lot of Rick Grimes figures. You're gonna get a lot of Mandalorian figures when it comes to Star Wars, the Mandalorian TV show. You know, it's common sense. You're gonna get a ton of the main character of whatever the toy line is making. So I do not mind Iron Man figures coming out every single wave, and it's also because I am a huge Iron Man fan as well, obviously, so I'm a little biased with that. But Iron Man is my favorite superhero, and this makes me so happy. This Iron Man figure is the figure we deserve, the classic Iron Man that we've needed. Definitely their best one they've created and released. Onwards to number 5, we have our Mafex Spider-Man, and this is arguably one of the best Spider-Man figures created, or in recent time. I don't know. I'm not the biggest Spider-Man fan compared to what I am an Iron Man fan, but I know there's tons of Spider-Man figures just like Iron Man. So there's a lot of competition, a lot to compare to. But from what I hear and read all the time, one of the best Spidey figures is the A. McFarlane Spider-Man that came out years ago. So a lot of people always compare things to that. And as far as I can see, some people are putting this Mafex figure up next to that. Now, I don't have that McFarlane Spidey, but I can say I do have this Mafex Spidey. So fun to pose and display, and he is super articulated, and I think Mafex knocked it out of the ballpark, or Medicom knocked it out of the ballpark with this release. They ended up re-releasing it with a different paint deco, being the comic paint. I did not end up getting it because I was totally pleased with this version. I didn't need that, and it's not like they're making a comic painted wave, or they're not gonna make a comic painted Wolvie, so it's just gonna look odd next to regular painted figures, in my opinion. I don't know, but I'm totally fine with the regular Mafex Spider-Man, and he is my number 5. Taking the number 4 spot, we have the SH Figuarts Bandai Tamashii Nations Star Wars Boba Fett. This is a sleeper release. A lot of people slept on this. I don't see enough love for this Boba Fett figure. He is making my number 4 spot. We're in the top 5 already. He beat out Mafex Spidey because I enjoy this figure more than this Mafex Spidey. This Boba Fett looks so good. It is a miniature Hot Toys, in my opinion. This thing looks phenomenal. They did such a great job sculpting this guy and painting him and making it look so accurate to the movie, and it is the best Boba Fett figure hands down, if you're not counting Hot Toys. I don't know if Hot Toys made one or not, but I let's not count Hot Toys. That's Hot Toys is, they're in their, you know, in a different world, in a different universe. They're in a league of their own. So we're talking about 6-inch scale compared to like Black Series, and I think Mafex may have made one already. I think Mafex made one, but this is definitely better than any of those other 2 options, in my opinion. Moving on to number 3, and we're sticking with Star Wars and Mandalorians. We have the Black Series Mandalorian from the TV show on Disney Plus. This figure I did not review. I did not get around to reviewing it, but it did release in 2019. I did buy it in 2020, but it is a 2019 release. That just goes to show how popular this figure and hard to find this figure was. I actually ended up finding the carbonized Target exclusive version of it, which is exactly the same as the regular release. It's just a more metallic paint, but it's the same figure, and it is fantastic. Hasbro just knocks it out of the ballpark when it comes to Mandalorians, because their Jango Fett and their Boba Fett are very well done. Not as good as Figuarts Boba Fett, but darn good. And this Mandalorian, I loved it so much, I even put it in front of the Figuarts Boba Fett, so that's saying a lot. it's also because it's our only Mandalorian figure available right now. So clearly it's the best one, but it is good. I mean, there's nothing to compare it to. Totally pleased, and if this Mandalorian figure was to be the only 6-inch Mandalorian figure to ever release, I would be completely fine with it. But it is not. We have Figuarts coming in, trying to steal the spotlight, but that's not coming out to 2020 this year, so that won't even make this list, obviously. But number 3 goes to the Black Series Mandalorian, and I would even put the Heavy Infantry Mandalorian up there, but I never got around to opening him. I still have him in the box, so I don't feel like it's fair to put him on this list just because I'm staring at him through a window of a box. But he looks great too, so I didn't even want to put him in the honorable mentions, but he probably deserves to be there too because I am hearing great things. Anyways, on to number 2. It goes to a Mezco 112 Collective figure, and can you guess it? Guess what it is? It is Agent Gomez. Gomez, there's been so many Gomez releases this year. It feels like Gomez has been around since 2018. But no, Agent Gomez released in early 2019. That was the very first Gomez figure we got. And it's the one that started it all. Now, I know what most of you guys are probably thinking. It's kind of hard to believe that Gomez is number 2 on a top 10 list for 2019, but I feel like people are going to think that way because there's already like 4 or 5 or 6 Gomez figures released. We have Stealth, we have Street Gomez, we have Agent Gomez, we have the Shadow Gomez from China. So there's so many that at this point a lot of people are getting tired of Gomez, and now they're seeing it as a casual figure that's not all that anymore. But when this Gomez came out, the very first one, Agent Gomez, it was a craze. It was the best figure. It still is one of their best figures. Sit down and just think about this figure. When this Agent Gomez came out, I mean, it's got the trench coat, it's got the regular jacket. You can take that off and you can see the t-shirt with the tie on. You got the boombox, you got the gun. There's so many accessories that come with this figure. It's got the new body that everyone loves now, and everyone wants Spider-Man to be on this body. Everyone wants Punisher to be on this. Everyone wants the next figure to be on this body because it's so nicely articulated and it's so flexible and it's so good. And they ended up putting the Pink Skull Chaos Club on this body, of course, because they're mutations of Gomez, so it makes sense. But this is just a phenomenal figure overall, and the value you get from all the accessories and the heads that he came with too are I mean, I could talk about this figure forever, but when the very first Agent Gomez came out, it was the highlight of Facebook groups, and everyone wanted to get their hands on it, and very rightfully so, because it is that good of a figure. And ending the top 10 with number 1 here, I'm sure you guys would have guessed already, it's a Dragon Ball Z figure. It has to go to my man Broly. And this is the Super Saiyan Full Power SH Figuarts Broly from the new movie. Yes, it's probably because I'm a Dragon Ball Z nerd, I know, but this figure is still great. Even if you're not a nerd, you have to hold this figure in your hand. You have to see the detail, the amount of love they put into this figure. Such a bulky, huge figure, but it's so flexible and it's so fun to play with and pose and photograph too, and get him into fights with Vegeta or Goku or Gogeta. I mean, this figure is one of their best releases, I have to say, and they're just hitting home runs after home runs after home runs with each Dragon Ball Z release. It's getting hard for me to decide which one's better than the other, but I have to go with Super Saiyan Full Power Broly because it is just so well done, and the I mean, I don't know. I get speechless sometimes talking about it because it's such a great figure. You really have to have it in your hands and mess around with it to really know or feel what I'm feeling about it. But again, you have to be a super fan or a fan of Dragon Ball Super and the movie, which was phenomenal as well. And I don't know if you guys are keeping track of how many times I've said phenomenal on this video, but I just don't have any other words to describe all these phenomenal figures of 2019. And that's my list. I mean, super difficult to make. It's hard to put one in front of the other. If anything, I could sit here and say all 10 of these deserve number 1 because they are, in my personal opinion, in my mind, all just as good as the other or as the next one. So what a year 2019 was. So many good figures, and if you stuck around to the end of this video, I truly appreciate it. I thank you so much. Just a friendly reminder that, again, it's my opinion, and these are based off the figures that I own and that I purchased in 2019. I should have said that in the beginning of the video, but if you don't see a figure here that was amazing and great and it's on every one of those top 10 lists, it's probably because I didn't buy it or I don't own it, so it's not fair to me to put it on the list. So alright guys, that's it. Man, I don't know how long this video is gonna be. I really didn't want it to be that long, but I also didn't want to make it too quick and just list names and show pictures and that's it. I really wanted to explain a little bit one by one, but if I sat here and did every single one in detail, it would be a 5-hour long video. Obviously ain't nobody got time for that, and we're gonna wrap it up here. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Leave your top 10 list down below. I'm very interested to see everyone else's list. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.